You know, as we've been doing this series on the people of Israel, as they've been wandering around in the wilderness, can you imagine what must have been going through their heads? I mean, think about it. Here they have been promised that they are going to take a land that would be given to them, a land flowing with milk and honey, promised by God, and then because they didn't have trust and faith, they were destined then to wander in a wilderness that a lot of times had no water, had no food, had to be taken care of, and trusting God in the middle of all of these things that they had been promised. And here the people are getting near the end of their time of wandering, have watched their parents and their friends and the older people who had been leading the tribe pass away and die, and they come to these moments of, what are we going to do next? Can you imagine being told by God, you have 40 years of waiting, and then I will do something? So they're coming near the end of their 40 years, and now they're questioning what's going to happen next. What do we do now? How do we make sure we don't make the mistakes of our fathers, of our grandfathers? That's where we come to today. And today we're in Numbers 33. Let me show you what it says. Numbers 33 says, "These are the stages of the people of Israel when they went out of the land of Egypt by their companies under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. Moses wrote down their starting places stage by stage by command of the Lord. And these are the stages according to their starting places." And then Moses starts off writing out, reminding the people about Egypt, about how God was faithful and how God rescued them through Pharaoh, through the Red Sea. And then he reminded them about how God was faithful and how God rescued them when they were getting the 10 Commandments and even sinned against God and the golden calf. And he reminds them and he shows them the faithfulness of God. Well, think about us. Think about your life. Right now, what is the hardship? What's the trial or the big thing in your life that you have to overcome? So many times those things that come up in our life, those prayer requests or conflicts, they become something that we can't get out of our mind, and we wonder, how is God going to be faithful in this? How is God going to come out and be superior? And we don't always understand it. And I think we can take a lesson from Moses in remembering our past. We as humans, we're always looking to the next task, to the next thing we've got to do, to the next problem. And we forget the faithfulness of God in our lives from the years past. I want to encourage you. Will you take some time to think, to write, to journal, to think about the things that your God has done in your life? Moses went all the way back to the beginning, starting with Ramses in Egypt and going through the whole history, going from the starting places all the way through, and wrote out and reminded the people of the faithfulness of God and how God was there for them. How many times do we do that? I want you to think right now. Take a minute and go, what are the top 10 things that you have to be thankful for that God has prevailed? Take your mind off of the problems and think backwards. Where have you seen God move in your life? Think of 10 things. Can you do that? As you're doing that, and as you go into a time of reflection and a time of discussion, I want you to really take this to heart. Here's a couple of methods you could use at home to even encourage your kids or encourage each other. Get a jar. Make it the thank you jar. And you can write down something you're thankful for once or twice a day, write it on a piece of paper, and put it in the jar. Fill up that jar, and at night when you sit down for dinner, you can take those out and you can spend some time thanking God for the things He's done in your life. Set up stages to remember, set up times in your life to remember and be thankful for what God is doing in your life. Or else you might find yourself wandering, might find yourself going, how's God going to work next? And worrying. I think so many times we worry and think about what's ahead. And so many times the answer is what is behind us. So will you take that time? Don't fall into that trap. Take the example of Moses and be thankful and think through the stages, the starting stages, the amazing things that God has done in your life. So go to your discussion time now, discuss this passage, and discuss how God has been working in your lives. Testify about God's awesomeness in your life and how awesome He is. God bless you.